Evolution versus Creation, The Scopes Trial by Jenny Kirby, History 530, American Christian Heritage, Dr. Sada. Who is John Thomas Scopes? John Thomas Scopes was a Tennessee teacher who violated the Tennessee law and refused to teach creation and instead taught evolution. He was put on trial, and through this trial, a question emerged of what is evolution and what is creation, and how to teach one or the other, and if it can be taught together or separate. And this trial answered this question of exactly how to go about teaching creation instead of evolution. Who was William Jennings Bryan? William Jennings Bryan was the prosecutor of the trial, and he effectively defended the Bible and its teachings and basically won his case. What was the significance of the Scopes trial? For one, it questioned science versus biblical teachings. It forced people to reevaluate the Bible and science, and it made people dig deeper into biblical teachings and scientific theories. What does this mean for today's scholars? Scholars need to realize that through science there are theories, the Big Bang Theory, the evolution theory. These theories cannot be proven. It is, again, a theory, a thought, an idea that scientists have come up with of who we are and where we came from. The Bible is a religious text from the ancient period that has carried on through the centuries. And through that, the Bible, again, like evolution, asks the questions of who we are and where we came from. However, unlike science, the Bible has the answers. And it takes faith to understand exactly how creation works and how we came to be here on earth. Again, we have to understand that one holds the answers while the other holds more questions than not, and that it takes more experiments, mathematical process, and there's no way to possibly do that when it comes to the biblical text, or any text for that matter. What we have to do as historians and scholars is to question science and the Bible too. We have to understand the world we came from. Therefore, we have to ask questions to understand exactly where we came from. Who was Adam and Eve? Where did they live? Where did they grow up? How did they live? How did they survive in the garden? Where did sin come from? Where did this evil versus good come in at? And these questions help you dig deeper into your spiritual self. Like science, it can do the same. You have to question in order to get your answers. But where are the answers of creation? Why does evolution question creation? And how is it possible that we all come from a certain source of animal? Again, more questions are asked. Did we really come from fish? Did we really come from monkeys? Did we come from lizards? Did we come from gorillas? Did we come from elephants? Exactly what is a human being? And science has a hard time explaining this when quickly you can look into the Bible and it's right there, written in black and white, right there in front of you in Genesis. Like Christians, we have to use our faith, and in that faith, we must sometimes go to science to really understand the world in which we live in. And sometimes science and the Bible can go hand in hand. Example of that is Christian historians. We have to use the Bible, yet we have to use our primary sources and the evidence that's presented in front of us. Sometimes the evidence is not there in the Bible. So it's okay to use science. It's okay to use the biblical text. And it's okay to question both. And that was the whole issue behind the Scopes trial, was that people refused to look at science and say, okay, well, let's reevaluate this. What's wrong with evolution? Why is it a huge factor? And the huge factor is it went against Christianity. When in today's world, it not necessarily doesn't have to go against Christianity, because again, you can use the Bible and the science. Through the Scopes trial, we've learned that you can use both to understand the world in which we live.